Right, those of you who follow Star Sports on social media will be aware of Mr. Nick Goff, the professional punter, professional football punter, and out of all those videos we've done over the last year and a half with Simon Knott, it pains me to say, Nick, that yours is just about the most popular.
It's a mystery. I've no idea how.
There were a few people trolling you, I can assure you that.
I did get some abuse. You can't be on Twitter without the abuse. And to be fair, I almost said to Ben, no, I wouldn't do the interview because I wondered, you know, what's in it for me to do something like this. And I decided I would do it because Ben is one of those guys that puts a lot back into the game, does things for other people. People like Neil Channing, I've got so much respect for, goes out of his way to help other punters. And I thought it's the right thing for me to do to say yes to this. And I also said I'd never be a bloody tipster. And you've got me here today to talk about the World Cup. So Ben's a hard man to say no to, and so I haven't said no again. So we're going to talk about the World Cup and stuff that I'm back in. And
well, you're right there, mate. I've been trying to quit this job for 12 years. But listen, we said when we did the videos before, there's a lot of pressure comes from being on your own punting to pay the bills, and a different type of pressure is paying other people's bills. And that is why we've got you here. You are now tipping on the World Cup 2018. We'll get straight into it. The World Cup kicks off in a mere 10 days' time. We've got the usual stuff: Brazil 4-1, Germany 9-2, Spain 6-1. Look, we're not going to go into all 32 teams, but let's talk about the head of the market. Then give us 2 teams you want to be against and 2 teams you want to be with.
Shall we tell everyone about Star Sports' offer first?
We should. He's even doing my job for me. So there's only one thing I needed to do, and I've already forgotten to do it. But for all of you guys out there, if you open an account with us for the World Cup at starsports.bet, this is the offer. Open an account, have 20 quid on either the outright market or the top goal scorer market, and if Germany win, we will give you £250. And if they win the final on penalties, we'll give you £500. And you've only got to lay out 20 quid. And let's be fair there, you're going to lay out 20 quid on the World Cup, so do it with us anyway. But Nick, what do you feel about that offer? It's a decent offer.
You couldn't ever cramp it. You can't say that's not a good offer, because if you fancy Germany, well, you're in for another 250 quid if they win it. If you don't really fancy Germany, you know that they're one of those teams that are going to be there or thereabouts at the end. So if you fancy Brazil or you fancy France, you back them, and you know you've got a safety net if Germany win it. So it's the sort of offer that you can't get on Twitter and say that's a crap offer. It's not possible. It's good.
And it's free money. It's not free bet. It's
exactly,
£250 free money. I mean, Nick, I can tell that you're the professional. I'm not. I've got my notes and you're just sat there like you're on the beach, aren't you? Like that.
Yeah, at the moment I might talk crap, but
right, come on, Brazil 4-1 favourites. A back or a lay at 4-1 for you?
A sort of neutral, very, very marginally against them. I just think they're a touch too short, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're there at the end. They probably will be there at the end. Neymar looks like he's a little bit of a concern about Neymar maybe being a little bit undercooked because he's been out injured for a long time.
Okay,
but he came back in that friendly against Croatia at Anfield the other night and looked superb. And actually having a couple of months off injured might turn out to be the best thing for him. He might be fresh. You've got to really respect Brazil, albeit there's a couple of little question marks. Dani Alves misses the tournament injured. The central midfield, they may play that Augustino guy that's been playing in China over Fernandinho is the talk, which would surprise me.
He's been in and out the side as well.
I'd definitely play Fernandinho if it was me. But in the attacking positions, they've got real quality. Coutinho, Gabriel Jesus if he plays, and obviously Neymar. They deserve to be at the head of the market, but I think maybe just a touch short for me.
Okay, and Germany at 9-2, we've touched on them. We know they'll get to the semi-final, don't we?
About the right price, I think, Germany. A few little doubts, like Jerome Boateng might start centre-back. He's been injured for a long time. Leroy Sané's been left out the squad.
I mean, I couldn't believe that when you told me that. Yeah, I think he's been one of the best players in the world in the last 12 months, let alone in England or Germany. I mean,
Thomas Müller maybe not had quite as good a season as in the past, and every time you watch Thomas Müller, you're like, how does this guy do so well?
Of course.
What are his actual strengths? Obviously,
he even says he's a crap footballer himself.
Yeah, he's the best crap footballer in the world or something like that, which is a good label and probably a true one.
Well, out of the teams, the 4 at the top of the market for me, the team that interests me most is Spain at 6-1.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a 5-a-side team that didn't get in the squad. Would probably be our best 5-a-side team. So,
best goalkeeper in the tournament.
Best keeper in the tournament, without doubt.
A midfield that anyone would die for, and they're going to leave out players. You know, if you start Isco and Silva, you might have to leave out Koke. It's like, or Iniesta will start, and Iniesta's not going to lose pace because he never really had it in the first place. It's all in his head. And if you start Diego Costa up front, you know what a annoyance he is.
And you've got that animal up front as well. So you've got the ticky-tackies in behind, and you've got the proper presence up
and the
front.
back four's as strong as any.
Yeah.
So there's not really any weakness in that side. My one concern about Spain might be there's a little bit of a lack of pace in the midfield. Runners bombing on from midfield to get up and join Costa. There's no searing pace in there and no width either.
Busquets no flyer, is he, holding in there?
He's not. He doesn't need to be. But I think of the four, Spain are the ones I like the best of the four. Because we'll come on to France, who Deschamps isn't really for me. I think he's going to start Giroud when he's got that strength in depth in his squad. You've got to start Giroud, really.
I mean, if you think Giroud could get in an Arsenal team that was mediocrity to the extreme, I can't see him going and leading a line to a team to win the World Cup.
So of the four at sort of 7-1 or shorter, Spain are the ones I like the most.
Okay, so we've got another little bracket of Argentina, Belgium and England. We've got to talk about Argentina because any team that's got Aguero, Messi, Dybala, I'm probably missing 3 strikers there.
Yeah.
The strike force is incredible, but then it's weighted with Fazio and the like at the back.
You've got Willy Caballero in goal. You've got Fazio at the back.
Attack, lads, attack. That's got to be
the central midfield will only be average. But they've got an embarrassment of riches up front, plus Messi, who, if you're going through team by team and rating players on ability, is something I try and do to benchmark teams. 10 out of 10 is not enough for Messi. He's better than that.
Yeah. You're saying they normally start 1-0 up in every game? Yeah.
So you can't. You certainly wouldn't. There's a lot of. I've seen people really putting Argentina down and saying that they're completely the wrong price. Because of Messi, they're not. All of the things that hold them back, all of their drawbacks, we can factor in, but Messi.
Yeah.
So I'm not on Argentina. I think that they're maybe an inch too short also, like I said about Brazil, so I wouldn't be backing them. But anyone who thinks Argentina should be 16 plus could be in for a nasty shock, because if he gets on a roll in what might be his last World Cup.
Well, all I'll say is the biggest lay for me out of all the ones at the top of the market is Belgium at 10-1. Roberto Martinez will not manage a team to win a World Cup. 10-1 Belgium.
No, not for me.
Not for you at all.
No. And again, you've got to respect De Bruyne and Hazard, who
I respect them, of
absolutely
course.
top quality players, and that defence of theirs in terms of players is superb. But I don't. You're trying to shoehorn them in. Do you play 3 at the back or do you play 4 at the back? If you play 4, there aren't the natural fullbacks there like there would be if you play the 3 centre backs. In central midfield, he hasn't taken Nangolan, and they're probably going to play Axel Witsel above him. He's not as good a player, just isn't. And I actually still have a bit of a concern over Romelu Lukaku in the top games against top teams. He doesn't do it often enough for me. So, no, not for me, Belgium.
And England, 10 seconds on England, go.
A touch too short, not massively underpriced, because in this global market we live in now, England don't go off completely wrong prices, but there is not enough strength and depth in that squad. We all know where the weaknesses are. There's question marks at several main positions. They deserve the price they are, though. I've gone well over 10 seconds, because teams like Italy and Holland aren't here.
Yeah, a fair point.
And so if 3 or 4 of those teams at the very top of the market all flunk, which could happen, then who's left to pick up the pieces? Well, we haven't got many.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Out of the rest, so you'll want to be with Spain, the ones at the top of the market,
and with Uruguay, they're the other team I think we should mention.
So go on then. Let's finish up this World Cup roundup, the outright market with Uruguay, which we spoke a lot on the phone about Uruguay last week.
Right.
And go on, tell us.
The spine of that side, the 2 central defenders at Atletico Madrid and Fernando Muslera, the goalkeeper behind them, been there, seen it, done it, and having the 2 central defenders that play together at club level is a really big thing, because they know each other's games inside out. And Godin's probably one of the best central defenders in the world, so he looks after Jimenez as well. The midfield is pretty strong. Bentancur, the guy at Juventus, had a good season, and then obviously everything's set up to get the best out of Suarez and Cavani.
And is there a better strike force at the World Cup than those?
Probably not, and they complement each other quite well, because as much as people like to cramp Suarez's personality, he's a really unselfish footballer, and that's helped him settle in at. He went to Barcelona, where Messi was the number 1, having been the top man in England at Liverpool for those last 2 years. And he was selfless enough to allow Messi to be the number 1 and play the second part. And a lot of people couldn't go and do that.
No. And obviously Cavani is as selfish as they come alongside them.
Yeah.
So they will complement, as you say.
Oh, they play great together, and because they're such a small country, this is their chance. Uruguay, you know, the next generation, give it 4 years' time, Uruguay might be a 100 shot. So exactly. this is their big chance.
Their golden generation. Yeah. That went well for us,
yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah, but this really is a golden generation. Ours was just made up by the media, wasn't it?
Exactly. Right, so in conclusion, with Star Sports, don't forget that offer is on Germany. You have 20 quid on the outright market and you get 250 quid cash if they win the World Cup and 500 if they win on penalties. And Nick, your 2 darts at the board confirming a 6-1 Spain and 28-1 Uruguay?
Yeah, both of those decent.
Well, I know where he lives, guys, so all you got to do is tweet me and I'll let you know if that goes wrong. But Nick, appreciate that. Thanks very much. And look, I hope you're right, because I'm with Uruguay too.